Hey everybody, welcome back to American History with Mr. Finn. Today we're putting a wrap on some of the key terms that we need to with our Constitution. One of the things that is going to finally put the Constitution over the edge and have the states finally give it approval is going to be a Bill of Rights that's going to be included with it. The Bill of Rights, for our definition, for our class, uh, we're going to say this. It's going to outline specific freedoms, really. It's going to outline specific freedoms. We know the Bill of Rights, and really we know them as amendments now. So the idea of it, and the Founding Fathers were smart about this, is they said, we're going to have this Constitution, but we know things are going to change over time, so we want to be able to change it, which is what amend means. And so the amendments are changes to the Constitution, and the first 10 amendments are really the Bill of Rights. And so we see things like, the First Amendment right, freedom of speech. There's things in there about the right to bear arms. There's the Quartering Act. There's different specific freedoms that are listed right there so that all Americans would see that and know exactly what those freedoms are, what our rights are as citizens, and what we have. Amendments are just, again, as we move forward, these are going to be changes to the Constitution. Changes to the Constitution are what the amendments are. So we have amendments every now and again. Some of the famous ones would be the 13th Amendment. That is the amendment that freed the slaves, for example. The women's right to vote was an amendment. So changes to the Constitution that, again, are giving specific freedoms or explaining what people are allowed to do are these amendments, which is finally going to bring us to ratify or ratification. I know I gave this definition before, but when we ratify something, this is final approval. So we give final approval when we ratify something. When something is ratified, it's final approval. And this Constitution that the Founding Fathers made, after the Bill of Rights is included in it, the states are going to ratify it one after another, making it the law of the land, which then now brings us to our current state of the country in the sense of we have a constitution. Everything in it explains the way our government works. The amendments have changed the Constitution over time, but we are now set as the United States as far as our class goes. We start to see the first cabinet. George Washington will be elected first president under this new Constitution, and he puts together a cabinet, another term for us. And this is going to be, I'll put it over here so we have room for Hamilton, the heads of various departments. What does that mean? The head of various departments. Well, we have the Treasury Secretary, we have the Secretary of State, we have the Secretary of Education, we have all these people who work very closely with the president who are in charge of various departments within the government. So the president's a busy person. Is he going to know everything that's going on with the education system in different schools? Or is he going to put someone in charge to report back to him about what's going on with all the schools and everything like that? And that would be someone that would be in the president's cabinet. So the cabinet is people. The cabinet is people who are in charge of various departments in the government who really report directly to the president. And one of the first cabinet members that we get to is Hamilton, and this is going to be important for us. Hamilton's an important person. He's going to be Treasury Secretary. But for us, you just want to know that Hamilton is money. He is the money person. Basically, the idea for Hamilton is fix the economy. Fix the economy. We were in debt. We were in a lot of debt. We borrowed a lot of money from France and a lot of other places. So our country was not in a good place money-wise, and our economy wasn't. And so Hamilton, being one of the smartest people that George Washington knew and had actually been his personal secretary during the Revolution, he said, "Hey, Hamilton, you are the smartest guy I know. Figure out this economy. Let's fix this country. What can we do?" And so Hamilton does a lot of different things that we are not going to get into, but has to do with different tariffs and taxes and um, monetary policy and taking debt on and a lot of stuff that's for economics class. But the point is, he is smart. He does figure out a way to get the United States out of this really, really bad situation where we don't have a lot of money and our economy's not good. Which brings us to our last thing as far as our finishing our kind of government wrap up. Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. did not exist with President George Washington. It is going to be created as a national capital and is going to get the name Washington later on. But the important thing for us when quizzes happen is going to be what does the DC stand for in Washington, D.C., our national capital? And that is the District of Columbia. The District of Columbia is what DC stands for. So in your notes, if you have that, when I ask you, what does the DC stand for in Washington, D.C., you'll be able to tell me it is the District of Columbia. So we are a wrap, guys. We have our Constitution. We have had our first cabinet. Thomas Jefferson was in it. John Adams, Hamilton, people that we will see down the line are all part of this cabinet. We have a capital being built. We have our Constitution. We're good. We are off and running. So now it is about back to the story of America. What is the next steps in the history of the United States of America? But as far as creating this country, we are there, and now we're going to see the next things that happen to go on from here. So turn these notes in today. Make sure you do for attendance and participation purposes, and I will see you next class.